Quadratic Trinomials. Please, it is a video playlist under factoring. In the playlist, if you go to my website on factoring, it is a video playlist. Please, it is important that you view the videos in order. It is recommended that you view those videos in order. In this particular video, we shall solve more problems. We have gone over the basics, the steps. So we shall use those steps and solve more problems in this one. And we shall also solve Quartic Trinomials. That is when it is raised to, when the highest exponent of the variable is 4. It is a Quartic Trinomial. So we shall also solve problems like that here. We have several problems here. So to keep this video as short as possible, we will not have to check. We have checked in the previous videos. So in this case, we will just solve it and we will not check our work. Okay? This is a trinomial, and I always recommend that students check their work by multiplying. You know, when you do factoring, when you multiply the factors, it should give you back the trinomial, the expression. But we will not check in this one, so we will just solve it and finish it. Okay? So let's start from number 7. We stop at number 7. Number 7, question 7, negative 3p squared minus p plus 4. First of all, step 1, is it in the order? Is it in the general form? It is in the general form. Remember, the general form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is the general form. You notice that you cannot factor by GCF. That is the next thing you check. Check whether you can factor by GCF. You cannot. Alright? But there is a leading negative. Okay? And I want you to take this note down. Whenever there is a leading negative, okay, factor the negative, factor out the negative first. Factor out the negative first. So we always want to do this. Whenever there is a leading negative, we want to factor out the negative first. That is what we want to do. Yeah, so here we can factor out negative 1. I mean, 1 is a factor of everything. So factor out negative 1. Negative 3p squared divided by negative 1 is 3p squared. Negative p divided by negative 1 is plus p. Then plus 4 divided by negative 1 is minus 4. So you can now deal with this guy. Deal with this. So let's go ahead and deal with this. And at the end of the day, we shall put back our negative 1. Okay? So if we have 3p squared plus p minus 4, we just circle this so we don't forget. We will still deal with it. Multiply the first and third terms. We now follow those steps. So this is a 3p squared times negative 4, and that is a negative 12p squared. Negative 12p squared. Okay, let's check. Okay, 1 and negative 12 will not work. Negative 12 and 1 will not work. 2 and negative 6 will not work. Negative 2 and 6 will not work. 3 and negative 4 will not work. 3 and negative 4 will not work. Negative 3 and 4 will work. So in this case, you see we have negative 3p and 4p. Okay? Negative 3p plus 4p. That is what we have. So we now replace that. That is now 3p squared minus 3p plus 4p minus 4. Right? So you now have you now factor by grouping. Okay? And like I said, I like doing my I like doing my radical method. So this is 3p p minus 1, and this is 4p minus 1. So the factors are p minus 1 and 3p plus 4. These are the factors. Then don't forget, you got negative 1 here, okay? Don't forget that. So you now bring it back here, negative 1 times p minus 1 times 3p plus 4. And this becomes your answer. Yeah. That becomes your answer. Now, there's something I want to say. Some students might want to write it as 4p minus 3p. And you can still do it, but I want to say something. I want to show you something. If you have 3p squared plus 4p minus 3p minus 4, so you will run into leading negatives here, okay? You will still get the same answer, but you will run into leading negatives. Okay, this is still p, 3p plus 4, and this will be negative 1, because you have to factor out, whenever you have a leading negative, you factor out the negative. If you have a leading negative, factor out the negative. So this is negative 1, 3p plus 4. 3p plus 4. And then you now have 3p plus 4 times p minus 1. And you still bring down your negative 1. So it is the same thing, but you see here, if you have to be careful. If you don't want to deal with leading negatives, then you better use negative 3p plus 4p instead of using 4p minus 3p. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, if you don't want to deal with leading negatives, okay, then you have to use this negative 3p plus 4p instead of 4p minus 3p. So, but it still gives you the same thing anyway. Okay? All right, let's do question 8. Question 8, we have 35 minus 2x minus x squared. Here, we first of all see that it is not in the general form. We have to put it in the general form. Please view the videos that we did previously. Okay? This is now negative x squared minus 2x plus 35. So right now it is in general form. We also notice that it has a leading negative. It has a leading negative, factor out the negative. So this is negative 1 x squared plus 2x minus 35. So deal with this guy. Let's deal with this guy, x squared plus 2x minus 35. If you multiply the first and third terms, you have x squared times negative 35. Okay? X squared times negative 35, and that is negative 35x squared. So let's look at the factors. That will give us, when we add them, we get 2x. 1x and negative 35x won't work. 1 and negative 35 won't work. Negative 1 and 35 will not work. 2 will not work. 3 will not work. 4 will not work. 5x and negative 7x. Okay? Because this is negative, so positive times negative is negative. Negative times positive is negative. And we have talked about those in previous videos. So 5x and negative 7x will not work. But negative 5x and 7x will work. Okay? So negative 5x plus 7x. This will work. And if we don't want to deal with leading negatives, we use this. If we do not want to deal with leading negatives, we use this. So this will be x squared minus 5x plus 7x minus 35. Okay? We factor by I like using a radical method. So this is x minus 5, factor by grouping, and then this is 7, x minus 5. So I'll now have x minus 5 is common first, then x plus 7. and then I bring down this negative 1 right here. I bring it down, negative 1. So this becomes my answer. That is it. That is it. Okay. And when we check, I said we will not check, use FOIL. Well, but if you want to check, use FOIL and multiply these two guys first. FOIL it. And after doing that, you multiply by negative 1. Okay? Use the FOIL method of multiplying binomials. Question 9. X squared plus 8x minus 24. So is it in the general form? Yes, it is in the general form. So the next thing, we multiply the first and third terms. X squared times negative 24. It gives us negative 24x squared. Negative 24x squared. 1 and negative 24 will not work. Negative 1 and 24 will not work. I'm looking who gives me a x. 2 and negative 12 will not work. Negative 2 and 12, which is 10, will not work. 3 and negative 8, which is negative 5, will not work. Negative 3 and 8, which is 5, will not work. 4 and negative 6, negative 2 will not work. Negative 4 and 6, 2 will not work. 5, 6. And that is the thing. Some folks ask me, how do you stop? Where do you stop? You know, some students have asked that. And I'll tell you how. We have 1 and negative 24, negative 24 and 1, 2 and negative 12, negative 2 and 12, 3 and negative 8, negative 3 and 8, 4 and negative 6, negative 4 and 6. You see, the next one will be 6 and negative 4. 6 and negative 4. But you have already said it here. Okay, put your x, 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 x. Because this is x squared. So x squared is going to be xx. Okay, xx. Not your ex, not your x. Okay, but this is x, just x. So the next one would have been 6 and negative 4. But you have already said it here. So you start. That's the way you know it. I mean, if you come back to read again, if you've mentioned it before, and you come back to read again, you start. You start. Yeah, that is the way to know where to stop. You keep on listening until when you have to repeat it again, that means you stop. Okay, none of these. This will give us negative 23x. This gives us 23x. This gives us negative 10x. This is 10x. This is negative 5x. This is 5x. This is negative 2x. This is 2x. None of it is 8x. None of it is this 8x. Okay? So because of that, this is not factorable. Not factorable. You can't factor it. You've got to use another method to solve it. But you can't factor it. Okay? Next question is question 10. We're coming there. Here we have m4 minus m squared minus 12. Alright, this is now a quartic trinomial. Quartic trinomial because the highest exponent is 4. So, but when you say quartic trinomial, don't be scared. It is the same principle, the same method. Okay? The only thing is that we now have, we have to follow it. It is in order 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 0. Okay? Just like you have a 2, 1, 0. You can have 2, 1, 0, 4, 2, 0. Okay? So, we have to follow the steps. You multiply the first and third terms, m4 times negative 12, that is negative 12 m4. Negative 12 m4. Now you list the factors, but in these factors you now have m squared, m squared, m squared, m squared, just like what you have in the middle. So, but it's the same process. It is. Okay? you now have m squared, m squared. So we have 1 and negative 12, and then we have negative 12 and 1. Then let's put equal to. Then we have 2 and negative 6, negative 2 and 6. We have 3 and negative 4, negative 3 and 4. Then we have 4. We've mentioned it before, so we stop. Stop. Because the next thing is 4 and negative 3, which is what we've mentioned here. So we stop. So all you need to do is you put m squared. Because this is m squared times m squared gives you m4. So if you split it, it's m squared, m squared. M squared, 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 m squared. So this gives you 1 minus 12 is minus 11 m squared minus, let's kind of split this. Negative 12 and 1 is, 1 minus 12 is minus 11. Oh, this should be negative 1 and 12. Negative 1 and 12 is 11 m squared. Okay. 2 minus 6 is minus 4 m squared. Negative 2 plus 6 is 4 m squared. 3 minus 4 is minus m squared, minus 1 m squared, which is, whether you say minus m squared or minus 1 m squared, it's the same thing. Minus m squared, and negative 3 plus 4 is m squared. Negative 3 m squared plus 4 m squared. M squared. So which factor will work? This factor is going to work here. This factor is what we will use. So this will be m4 plus 3m squared minus 4m squared minus 12. Okay, if you don't like to deal with leading negatives, guess what? If you don't like to deal with leading negatives, just have it as negative 4m squared and 3m squared. If you don't want to deal with leading negatives. Okay, this is m4 minus 4m squared plus 3m squared minus 12. And then you factor by grouping. I like to use the vertical method. That is what I like to use. So this will be m squared is common. We have m squared minus 4. And here we have 3, m squared minus 4. So we now have m squared minus 4 times m squared plus 3. Okay, we have not finished. We have not finished factoring here. We still gotta do something here. If you look at it, this question requires us to do some more work. M squared minus 4, then m squared plus 3. We still have to do something here because this is a difference of 2 squares. So this is a m squared minus 2 squared. We did this video. It's in the playlist. It is in the playlist. So please view it. Okay? Then m squared plus 3. And this will be m plus 2 times n minus 2 times m squared plus 3. And this becomes yours. That becomes your answer. Answer to number 10. Question 10. Okay. Question 11. We have x4. We have another quartic trinomial. x4 minus 13x squared plus 36. It is in the general form. It is in order. So what we have to do is we do x4 times 36. This is 36x4. Okay? Then we, of course, when we split it up, it's x squared, okay? So 36, okay, we can have a 1 and 36. 1 and 36 will not work. Negative 1 and negative 36 will not work. Okay, we can have a 1x squared and 36x squared. That is 37x squared, it won't work. Negative 1x squared and negative 36x squared. That is a negative 37x squared. It won't work. You know, with positive, you have to consider positive, positive, negative, negative. Because positive times positive is positive. Negative times negative is positive. Okay? But with negative, you have to consider positive, negative, negative, positive. Because positive times negative is negative, and then negative times positive is negative. So 1 and 36 won't work. Negative 1 and negative 36 won't work. 2 and 18 won't work. Negative 2 and negative 18 won't work. 3 and 12 will not work. Negative 3 and negative 12 will not work. 4 and 9 will not work. But negative 4 and negative 9 will work. That gives you negative 13. Okay, we also have 6 and 6. And then negative 6 and negative 6. That wouldn't work either. Okay, so we just stop on what will work. Negative 4x squared and negative 9x squared to give us negative 13x squared. This is what will work here. We use it. We use it. So let's finish this up. Let's finish up. We now have x4 minus 4x squared minus 9x squared plus 36. Okay, we replace that. So I like doing my vertical method. X4 minus 4x squared and then minus 9x squared plus 36. Let me just finish this here. Let me write it over here. So we have x4 minus 13x squared plus 36. We have x4 minus 4x squared minus 9x squared plus 36. In this case, we cannot prevent leading negative. We cannot, because both factors are negatives anyway. Negative 4, negative 9. So we cannot prevent the issue of leading negatives. We cannot. So this is x4 minus 4x squared, then minus 9x squared plus 36. I am using vertical method to factor by grouping. Then I factor by GCF. So this is x squared minus 4. And this is minus, you have to factor out if you have a leading negative. When you have a leading negative, you factor out the leading negative. Negative 9, x squared minus 4. So what I got? X squared minus 4 times x squared minus 9. We can't stop here. We have to finish it up. Difference of 2 squares. So this is x squared minus 2 squared times x squared minus 3 squared. Okay? And that is x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 3, x minus 3. And this becomes our answer. That becomes our answer. That is it. Okay? Pretty simple, right? X for 2, negative 2, negative 4 times 3, negative 12 times negative 3 plus 36. I just did a quick check of the first and third terms. Okay, that is it for that, for the question. Let's do question 12. So we already know if there is leading negative, factor out the negative first. Question 12, we have a 4n squared minus 19n plus 21. This is 19. So it is in the general form. It is in the general form. We multiply the first and third terms. 4n squared times 21. That is a 84n squared. 84n squared Okay, 1 and 84 will not work. Negative 1 and negative 84 will not work. 2 and 42 will not work. Negative 2, negative 42 will not work. 3 and 2 times 3 is 6. 24 is 8. 3 and 28. 3 and 28 will not work. 3 plus 28 is 31. Then negative 3, negative 28, negative 31 will not work. 4 and 21. 4 and 21, negative 4 plus 21, 25 will not work. Negative 4, negative 21, negative 25 will not work. 5 will not work. 5 is not a factor. 6 and 1, 6, 24, 14. 6 and 14. Okay? 6 and 14. 6 and 14 is 20. That won't work. Negative 6 and negative 14 will not work. Negative 20. Okay? 7, 1, 7. 7 and 12. 7 and 12 will not work. 7 and 12 is 19. But negative 7, negative 12 will work. Okay? So we have a negative 7n, negative 12n. This is what will work here. So we have a 4n squared minus 7n minus 12n plus 21. Okay? And if you look at it, you know, if you want to kind of rearrange it, because you see that 4 and 12, guess it, 7 and 21, guess it, you can do that. Okay? But you will not avoid the leading negative. You will not. Because the two factors are negatives. Okay, so let's finish this up. This will be 4n squared minus 12n minus 7n plus 21. So what is common here is 4n, then n minus 3. What is common here is minus 7, okay, n, then 21 divided by minus 7 is minus 3. Minus 3. So we have n minus 3 times 4n minus 7. And this becomes your answer. That becomes your answer. Okay? That is for question 12. Now let's go to question 13. Question 13, you have p squared plus 2p cubed minus 63q squared. Okay, some folks come here and that kind of throws them off, because this is squared here instead of saying just a number, right? This is squared because they don't see it. You know, we've been dealing with the third term being numbers, right? We've been dealing with it, right? But in this case, it's not. Come on, folks, do it the same way. We have to still do it the same way, okay? This with p squared times negative 63q squared, that is negative 63p squared q squared. So what does this tell you? That if you find the factors, if you split it up, it will be pq, pq. It will be pq, pq. So look, this is my suggestion, this is my advice to you. Anytime you're solving quadratic or quartic, or because this is still quadratic, the highest exponent is 2. Okay? Anytime you're solving any trinomial, just look at the first term and third term, and then look at the middle term. If you multiply the first term and third term, and then you can split it up like p squared q squared, of course, that is pq, pq. If you look at it and you see that pq is the second term, it can work. It can work with the same method, with the same steps I gave you. So you multiply the first and third terms, it gives you that. Let's look at the factors. Okay, it's going to be pq, pq. But let's start with 1 and negative 63. Then negative 1 and 63. Okay. 2 will not work, 3 will work, 3 and negative 21, and then negative 3 and 21. 4 will not work. 5 will not work. 6 will not work. Okay? 6 will not work. 7 will work. 7 and what? Negative 9, negative 7, and 9. 8, no. 9, we stop because we've just mentioned 9. Okay? We stop because we've mentioned 9. Now we just put PQ here, PQ, 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 PQ. Because this is, you know, if you multiply them, it gives you P squared, Q squared. So this is PQ, 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 PQ. So 1 minus 63 is minus 62, PQ. Negative 1 plus 63 is 62, PQ. This won't work. 3 minus 21 is minus 18, PQ. Minus 3 plus 21 is 18, PQ. That one won't work. It's not going to work because it's not 2 PQ. Okay? 7 minus 9 is minus 2 PQ. Minus 7 plus 9 is 2 PQ. So which ones we got? Minus 7 plus 9. This is what we got. Okay? And then we can prevent, in this case, we can prevent leading negative by just using it like that. Okay, this is P squared minus 7 PQ plus 9 PQ minus 63 Q squared. So we factor by grouping and then by GCF, 9 PQ minus 63 Q squared. P is common here, P minus 7, and then 9Q is common here, P minus 7. So we have P minus 7 times P plus 9Q. And this becomes our answer. That becomes our answer. Question 14. 4 minus 4x minus 15x squared. So this is not in the proper format. It is not in the general form. So we have to arrange it to be in the general form. This will be negative 15x squared minus 4x plus 4. I want you to master this because when we do rational expressions in the next topic, we won't have time to come and start going through these steps. No. I am taking time to go through these steps so that you can master it. And please, like I advise you to do, pause the video first. Before I solve any question, pause the video, do it on your own, and then you play back. You now play the video so that you see whether we got the same thing. It's better you master this, okay? And you master all the forms of factoring that we have done. So we multiply the first and third term. Negative 15x squared times 4 is negative 60x squared. So 1 and negative 60 won't work. Okay, first of all, what do we do? Before we do this, what did I just taught you something. This has a leading negative, right? It has a leading negative, so factor out the negative first. Negative 1, 15x squared plus 4x minus 4. Please take note of these, okay? Factoring by GCF. Because just say that the GCF is negative 1, okay? Negative 15x squared divided by negative 1 is 15x squared. Negative 4x divided by negative 1 is plus 4x. And then 4 divided by negative 1 is negative 4. Then Deal with this guy, okay? 15x squared plus 4x minus 4. So we first of all multiply the first and third terms. 15x squared times negative 4, negative 60x squared. Don't forget this negative 1. We shall still come back to it. We shall still put it back. Okay, negative 60x squared. Right? Negative 60x squared. So 1 and negative 60 will not work. I'm looking for 4x plus 4x. Negative 1 and 60 won't work. 2 and negative 30 will not work. Negative 2 and 30 will not work. 3 and negative 20 will not work. Negative 3 and 20 will not work. 4 and negative 15 will not work. Negative 4 and 15 will not work. 5 and negative 12 will not work. Negative 5 and 12 will not work. 6 and negative 10. 6 and negative 10 is negative 4. Will not work. But negative 6 and 10 will work. So this is negative 6x plus 10x. And we can also avoid the leading negative issue. Okay, so this is 15x squared minus 6x plus 10x minus 4. We replace the second term with it. Okay, so we factor 15x squared minus 6x, 10x minus 4. What is common here? 3x is common. And what is remaining? 5x minus 2. What is common here? 2. Then what is remaining? 5x minus 2. So we have 5x minus 2 times 3x plus 2. And this becomes ours. That becomes our answer for question 14. Question 15. Then, please, don't forget to do what? Don't forget to do what? Put back this negative 1. Please don't forget. Don't forget to do what? Put back negative 1. Negative 1. Okay? And when you check it, assuming you check it, you FOIL these two first, multiply these two first, and then multiply the trinomial by negative 1, and you get back this. Okay? Do we check this one? Let's kind of check this one. I like checking my work. Now, assuming we FOIL these, 5x minus 2 times 3x plus 2. This is checking it. Check. This is 5x times 3x. 5x times 2. Negative 2 times 3x. Negative 2 times 2. So this is 15x squared. This is 10x. This is negative 6x. This is negative 4. So we have 15x squared plus 10x minus 6x minus 4. And we have 15x squared plus 4x minus 4. And we bring back this negative 1. Negative 1 times 15x squared plus 4x minus 4. Negative 1 times 15x squared is negative 15x squared. Negative 1 times 4x is minus 4x. Negative 1 times negative 4 is plus 4. So this is now 4 minus 4x minus 15x squared. Gives you back what you got here. Gives it back to you. Okay? Question 15. Please, I always encourage you to check. Okay? I encourage you to always check. 15 is 4n4, another quartic trinomial, plus 3n squared minus 27. So this is in order. So we multiply the first and third terms. 4n4 times negative 27. This is negative 4 times 7 is 28. 8 carry 2, 4 times 2, 8, plus 2, 10. n4. Okay? 8, 2, 4 times 2, 8, plus 2, 10. So negative 108, n4. 1 and negative 108 will not work. Negative 1 and 108 will not work. 2 and negative 54 will not work. Negative 2 and 54 will not work. 3 and 3, 9, 10, 18. 3 and negative 36 will not work. Negative 3 and 36 will not work. I mean, I am doing this thing to help you. I mean, I can look at it right away and see what will work. Okay? I can look at it right away and see what will work. Okay, so 3 didn't work. 4 will 4 work to a 28. Yeah, 4 and a 27, I mean. 4 and negative 27 will not work. Negative 4 and 27 will not work. 5 will not work. 6 and 1, 6, 48, 18. 6 and negative 18 will not work. Negative 6 and 18 will not work. 7 will not work. 8 will not work. 9 and negative 12. Right? 9 and negative 12 will not work, but negative 9 and 12 will work. So this is 4n negative 9n squared, okay, plus 12n squared. This is what will work here. So we have 4n4 plus 3n squared minus 27. Replace this. 4n4 minus 9n squared plus 12n squared minus 27. 4n4 minus 9n squared, 12n squared minus 27. What is common here is n squared. So we have 4n squared minus 9. What is common here? We have a 3 and we have a 4n squared minus 9. Whenever you see that this is equal to this, right, you can jump up and touch the ceiling. Whenever you see that this is equal to this. Okay, this is now 4n squared minus 9 and then n squared plus 3. Okay, we still got something here. Difference of 2 squares. Let's finish it here. Difference of 2 squares is what we still have here. So from here, 4n squared minus 9 and then n squared plus 3. So we have a 2 squared n squared minus 9 minus 3 squared. Please view my videos on the difference of 2 squares so you understand what I just did. Now this will be 2n all squared minus 3 squared, then n squared plus 3. So this is 2n plus 3, 2n minus 3, n squared plus 3. This becomes your answer. That becomes your answer. Okay? All right. Last but not the least is the question 16. Last but not the least. Question 16. We have 12x squared plus 36x plus 27. Okay, please look at question 16. The thing you want to do first, you know, like all the questions we've been doing, we could, if it has a leading negative, factor out the negative first. Also, if you can factor by GCF, in fact, any polynomial that you are asked to factor, any polynomial at all, you want to first of all see whether you can factor by GCF. So you will not deal with long numbers, big numbers. You can do this 2 ways. You can do it the usual way we've been doing it, 12x, because it is in order. It is in the general form, 12x squared times 27. Okay, and then you find the 2 factors. But those are big numbers. First of all, see whether you can factor by GCF first. Because if you can factor by GCF first, it breaks it down, it makes it easier for you. So you will not have to deal with big numbers. So if we look at any polynomial at all, any polynomial, see whether you can factor by GCF first. Okay? Now if you look at this now, we see we can factor by GCF. We go ahead and do it. What is the GCF there? It's 3. 3. So this is a 3. What is remaining? 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. Okay? So we keep this 3 for now. Let it rest. Let this 3 rest here while we fix this guy. 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. Okay? Now this is 4x squared times 9, which is 36x squared. You want to find simple ways to solve problems. Simple, effective ways that work to solve problems. So this is 36x squared. Okay? 1 and 36 will not work. Negative 1 and negative 36 will not work. Anyway, negative will not work because this is plus 12 anyway. So you see that all our negative values won't work. We won't have to deal with negative because, you know, with negative plus negative is still, you know, it's still going to give us a negative. A negative plus a negative. Okay? Like negative 1x minus negative 1x negative 36x. That will give us negative 37x. So let's just deal with the positives, okay? Or if you want to deal with both of them, that's fine. Just to save time, if you're in an exam and you're timed, you want to work fast. You see that this is 12x plus 12x. So you just you won't have to deal with negative 1, negative 36 because it won't work. You won't have to deal with negative 2, negative 18 because it will give us negative 20. Okay, you only have to deal with positives. Okay, so 1 and 36, no. 2 and 18, no. 3 and 12, no. 4 and 9, no. 5, no. 6 and 6, yes. So we now have 6x plus 6x. That is what will work. So we have 4x squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 9. So this is 4x squared plus 6x plus 9. So this is a 2x plus 3. And this is a 2x plus 3. So we have 2x plus 3, and we have 2x plus 3. Don't forget your 3. Folks, don't forget your 3 is back here. So this is just now 2x plus 3 all squared. And this is okay? Alright. Thank you so much for this.